So being the queen of tequila, I imagine you've probably got some quite good drinking tales.
Oh, plenty of those. Yes. I suppose most famously, I guess, is as I mentioned, I used to work many years with Kenny Everett, and Kenny's best friend, one of his best friends, was Freddie Mercury. In fact, it was Kenny who broke Bohemian Rhapsody on the radio because he was a DJ, and everyone else thought it was too long, and Kenny said, no, it's perfect, I'll play it, darling. And he played it till it became a hit, when of course it was the most incredible song. So they were old chums, and we used to go out to a lot of charity things, and Kenny and I would often go to things where Princess Diana and Prince Charles were attending as well. So Princess Diana was much more sort of our age group and they both loved the Kenny Everett show, but Princess Diana just used to really love the sketches. We'd do sketches on the royal family and she'd quote them, and so we'd sort of huddle when we'd go to places, and all huddle and chat and swap stories and everything. And occasionally we'd meet for lunch. And we'd meet for lunch for about, the three of us, Kenny, Diana and me, and we'd meet for lunch for about an hour and a half normally. And this one, and she'd always come leaving her security. She'd just be able to somehow manage not to come with them. And this particular lunch, we were at the Bombay Brasserie in Kensington. And normally we'd have lunch for about an hour and a half, and then she'd go. But this particular lunch, Kenny and I were just about to order Key Royales, and she came in and said, no, let's have peach blinis. They do great peach blinis here. So we had a peach blini, and we continued to chat, swap all the showbiz gossip for all the palace gossip, and sit and shriek and laugh and everything. And normally she'd go. But this particular day, we were going back, Kenny and I were going back to his house because we were going out later on. She came back to the house, and I went in and I went to the kitchen to make some more champagne cocktails. She didn't drink very much, but we drank a little more than she did. And as I was making the champagne cocktails in his kitchen, I heard the Gypsy Kings come on, and when I came out into the living room, whenever you walked into a place with Diana, if she felt comfortable, she'd kick her shoes off immediately. So when I came into the living room, Kenny had a collection of feather dusters, which looked like sort of dehydrated Vegas dancers, and in the corner, and they were both dancing around the living room, just looking happy and free to the dancing to the Gypsy Kings. And Kenny would pre-record the Golden Girls, which we'd watch before we went out. And so he told us this. I mean, we were chatting and everything, so he put on the Golden Girls and then called Freddie, because Freddie only lived about 100 yards. And he said, Freddie, you've got to come over immediately, Di's here. Because the three of us were going out later, Kenny, Freddie and me. So Freddie came over. We all watched the Golden Girls with the voice turned down, sitting on the sofa and doing a much raunchier storyline than the Golden Girls, and laughing and chatting. And Diana asked where we were going that night, and Kenny said, well, we're going to the Royal Vauxhall Tavern, which is a gay bar, it's a more gentleman's bar, in Vauxhall. And so she said, what are you going to wear to Kenny? And my brother at the time had been a war photographer in El Salvador, and he had a camouflage jacket which he'd given to me. And Kenny wanted to borrow it that night. So Kenny said, well, I'm wearing this, and Diana put it on. And by this time we were outside the landing, outside his bedroom, and because he had a mirror in the corridor. And she put it on, and behind he had a chest of hats and vests and going out things, and he was going to wear a leather hat, so she put the leather hat on and put the aviators on, and she pulled the collar up, and we were all sort of enjoying it, and laughing and having fun. And she said, I want to come with you. And Kenny said, you can't come with us. It's a rough, well, sometimes it can be a bit rough out there, and it's going to be full of rough, hairy gay men. And then he said, you can't come with us. She said, no, I really want to. I said, you can't. He said, because I can just see the headlines tomorrow, future Queen of England dies in gay bar brawl. So he was trying to put her off. But Freddie, who's at this point leaning in the doorway of Kenny's bedroom, said, go on, let the girl have some fun. So we did. We all went down. Kenny called a cab, and we all went down to the Royal Vauxhall Tavern. She was in aviators and all her hair tucked up underneath in the hat, and she didn't look like her at all. And she said she wanted to go just as long as it would take to order a drink, and then she promised we could go. But when we got there, it was quite packed, and we had to sort of nudge through, and we were nudging and laughing and, you know, like school kids. And she got to the bar, ordered the drinks, and then we left. But everyone recognised, obviously, Freddie, and at the time Kenny's show was on TV, so Kenny and I were on TV a lot. Nobody even flinched at Diana. I mean, she just looked like a very elegant male model, really, when you look back at it. And so what we did is we went out, we got a cab, took her back to Kensington Palace, and she still kept the clothes on. And the next day she sent round we dropped her off there, and the next day she sent round all the clothes folded up with a note saying what fun she'd had and saying we must do it again. So it wasn't the only time she sneaked out. I mean, you know, she used to love sneaking out, and but she was fun, you know, she was happy mischief. And it was just one of those days where you hadn't planned it. It wouldn't have happened had we not had a cocktail. And it was just one of those happy, silly, wonderful days.